Welcome to an all-new episode of St. Louis Presents.
And Debbie, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
You're familiar with that organization, AARP?
Yes.
Why am I on their mailing list?
I don't know. I have no idea. Why would that be?
That's for retired people. I mean, old people. Anyway,
we're still working hard.
I know. I got something in the mail from them today. I'm always getting things from them, and I usually throw them away because I think this is about old people, nothing to do with me. Except the one I got this morning caught my eye because it had a section on great cities, livable cities. So I decided to keep it and flip through it and see if St. Louis was listed in anything. And they had all these categories like the easiest city to get around in. We weren't on that list. Healthy lifestyle cities.
Never on that one.
We weren't on that list. But I did find St. Louis made the list on best date night cities, along with Juneau, Alaska, and I didn't even know you could get a date in Juneau.
Wow.
But yeah, St. Louis evidently is a great place to have a date, do you think?
That's good to know. I don't know. I haven't had a date in years.
Yeah. Well, I think
married with kids. I don't go out. But
you remember what dates were like.
Kind of.
But, I think there are great places in St. Louis to have a date. For places like the St. Louis Science Center are a great place to go.
Absolutely. In fact, we're going to talk more about what the Science Center has lined up this summer. Another thing that we always end up on lists for is being one of the most literate cities in America, and in part that's because of our fantastic library system. So we're going to talk a little bit more about why librarians are meeting here in St. Louis this summer.
And not just librarians, it's the Black Caucus of the American Library Association, and there's a very interesting story. This is the first time they've had their conference here, and there's a very interesting story why they almost didn't have it here.
So we'll have all of that and more coming up next on this edition of St. Louis Presents. Stay with us. Center has some really exciting events opening up this summer, from a new film at the OmniMax to an exhibit that's out of this world. Here to tell us more about both is Jackie Mollet, the Managing Director of Visitor Services. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Debbie.
Now, I imagine summer is a really busy time because the kids are out of school and somehow we have to keep them entertained and occupied. So how much busier does it get?
We get significantly busier in the summer, so we look forward to our family audiences as well as the tourists that come to St. Louis and enjoy all of the attractions in the city.
So we're talking about aliens, robots, and androids.
Correct.
But these are not necessarily all the same thing.
No. So our new film in the OmniMax, which opens June 5th, is Robots, and it really shows the advancements that have come on in robotic technology in the last couple of years. And so there's from all over the world, from the United States, from Japan, from Europe, all of these research teams that are developing this technology. Robots are becoming more and more in our lives. We use them more and more. There's one scene in the film that actually has a robot learning to fold laundry, which everybody is very excited about.
Will it do the laundry and pick it off the floor?
They haven't gotten there yet, yes, but folding the laundry is a big thing. And then humanoids are robots that have taken on human characteristics, and they're actually learning. There's artificial intelligence is gaining a lot of speed, and so these robots and humanoids are learning more and more about how to really act like humans.
Which is interesting and kind of scary.
It's a little scary, a little creepy.
Yeah. Now, I understand. Now, is it an animated film or is it with real robots? Because Simon Pegg is doing a voiceover, right? And he's one of my favorites from Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
So he is the voice of Robo-Thespian. And Robo-Thespian is kind of the narrator, the MC of the movie. And he introduces us to all of the other robotic characters in the film. But it's live action.
And now, where do the aliens come in?
So Aliens, Alien Worlds and Androids is our new special exhibition. That'll be in Boeing Hall this summer. And it also talks about, are we alone in the universe? It kind of is science fiction meets science fact. So there's replicas of Iron Man, of C-3PO, of Terminator, And then it also talks about and has science content from JPL, the Jet Propulsion Lab in Los Angeles, that follows the Mars rover. So another robotic kind of element in it, but it also follows the Mars rover and what they're learning about traveling or getting to Mars.
And when we talk about the popularity of Mars rovers and robots and stuff, we have hosted here in St. Louis for the last, 4 or 5 years or so, the national robotics competitions. So young people really are getting interested in this kind of thing.
Absolutely, and that's one of our goals, is to inspire whomever to learn about a new technology or get them excited about, oh, I can do this. And FIRST Robotics has definitely brought that attention to St. Louis on a national scale.
Now, when we are having the alien exhibit, will we actually see different versions of aliens? Or potential aliens, or described aliens?
Described, for sure. and you know, we have aliens kind of on Earth right now, and it talks about invasive species, what we consider an alien, which would be a native population in one area. Other species that come in are considered aliens in that environment. So we have some already on Earth. It's just everybody wants to think about, you know, Marvin the Martian kind of aliens versus, or E.T., you know, versus what's already on the Earth, what's on Earth.
So we've got an exhibit on aliens, we've got a movie on robots, but there's always something going on at the St. Louis Science Center. So if the kids are getting bored and out of hand, just
lots of stuff to do.
Take them to the Science Center. And Jackie Mollet, thanks for spending time with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And we are going to check in with Steve Potter because he has some headlines for us.
Well, okay, Debbie, maybe if I can find a date, I'll go to the St. Louis Science Center. We'll work on that. The St. Louis Airport Commission has approved a major development project at Lambert Airport that will expand its aviation facilities and capabilities on the north side of the airfield, becoming a catalyst for international cargo activity and jobs. The Commission approved a 20-year lease with 2 10-year extension options with By National Gateway Terminal, LLC, for 48 3/4 acres of St. Louis city-owned property and facilities that were acquired in 2005 from the Boeing Company. A portion of the facilities on the site will be demolished to build a state-of-the-art air cargo terminal and ramp space for freighter aircraft. The company is expected to take 18 to 24 months to build out the initial phase of the project. The city's sustainability director, Catherine Werner, is reminding residents that if you registered a Milkweeds for Monarch's Garden, you can arrange to pick up a garden sign at City Hall. Reserve your garden sign by sending the registered garden address to wernerc@stlouismo.gov. For more information, call 314-622-3201. MoDOT has closed the second lane of the Poplar Street Bridge, heading westbound from Illinois into downtown, as crews construct a new driving surface on the right westbound lanes. Drivers may want to consider alternate routes, including the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge, the Eads Bridge, and the Martin Luther King Bridge. The closed lanes are scheduled to reopen in July. For real-time traffic, visit gatewayguide.com. And Debbie, I don't know if you know this or not, but I love traffic. I always wanted to be a traffic reporter. Could you see me like doing the traffic? Could you see me doing traffic from the STL TV Jetcopter 1 maybe?
Sure.
And no bumper-to-bumper traffic in the air. So.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of traffic myself. Anyway. The Black Caucus of the American Library Association is going to be holding its 9th National Conference of African American Librarians, and they'll be doing that in St. Louis for the first time this summer.
And here to tell us more about the events and the speakers scheduled and other things, please welcome Makiba Foster. She's the conference co-chair. Hi, Makiba. How are you?
Very excited to be here.
This is coming up in August, is it?
August, and we are ecstatic about being here in St. Louis. Our organization is celebrating its 45th year of existence, and we thought St. Louis was a great place in terms of affordability, accessibility, the history and culture of the city. We just thought it was an awesome place. You are all in competition with a lot of other cities, but St. Louis really stood out.
And that's good to know because we do have a great library system here, and both our city and county library systems are usually ranked nationally. Yes. And especially during all of the unrest in this area, in the Ferguson area in particular, I think libraries got even more attention because the Ferguson Library stayed open through all of it.
Yes, I mean, in terms of national disasters or things in the community that are turmoil, we find that libraries create a haven for the community. And in this case, the Ferguson Municipal Public Library was definitely a source of safety for folks that were in that area.
So this is the Black Caucus of the National Library Association.
Yes.
And I mentioned to Debbie earlier, there's sort of an interesting story. This is the first time you've had your conference here, and there's a reason for that. And
Yes.
again, it refers to what Debbie just referred to.
Yes, so we chose St. Louis as our site for the conference. Everything in terms of planning was moving along very smoothly, and then Ferguson happened. As a majority African American professional organization, we had some concerns about being here in the city, bringing in money into a community that possibly didn't value our perspectives. So there was some issues within our membership as to whether or not we should continue to move forward with conferencing here. But one of the things that I am a resident of St. Louis, I love the city, and I think that I was a major source of us actually moving forward and saying, this is something that we should be committed to. It's more, now more than ever, the community needs us and our presence within the city. So we made some decisions in terms of coming to the community, not just holding our conference, but trying to actually engage with the community while we're here. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to create a source of safety or peace, or just a nice gesture towards the community. And one of the things that we did was we donated a tree in memory of Michael Brown. This was something that we saw as a goodwill gesture. However, others saw it as something
24 hours later, it was gone.
Less than 24 hours, it was gone.
Was there ever any follow-up on exactly what happened with the tree?
We don't know. We do know that the city replaced it. There was a plaque at the base of the tree. I think that's still being replaced, but the tree has been replaced.
But the good news is you decided to hang in there.
Definitely, we decided to hang in there because the conference has a lot to offer folks in the city.
Well, why does the Library Association need a Black Caucus?
Well, some of the history of the American Library Association was that it was not very inclusive, and that 45 years ago, when you would pick a conference city, you had members that were African American and they couldn't stay in the hotels. So this was late 60s. So one of the things is that people of color within the American Library Association said we need to really move forward to make our organization more inclusive and more diverse. So there's still issues within our profession, which is why we still conference, that our profession is not as diverse as it could be, is not necessarily representative of the communities that we serve. So it's still work to do.
Well, I am a huge fan of libraries, and I'm proud to say I am the Duchess of Central Library on Yelp. I have more check-ins than anyone.
Wow.
Hey, it's on my resume.
Wow.
Not really, but it should be. But a lot of people will say, why do we need libraries in the 21st century? And I think, what do you mean? When I go to the library, especially in this day and age when everything's done on the internet and not everybody can necessarily afford their own computer and internet access, and there's all these different ways to get reading materials into people's hands, and isn't that what libraries should be doing?
Definitely. Of course, libraries have had to reimagine ourselves. That's one of our themes of our conference, is reimagining communities, libraries, and technologies, is that we understand that there's a question of our relevance, but now more than ever, you need libraries. There's an assumption, like you said, that folks have access to the internet. Well, that's not necessarily the case. So there's still issues of the digital divide. There's issues of whether or not, folks have money to actually purchase books and things like that. We assume that everyone is on the same level as us, but libraries really come in and they fill the gaps.
And there's something about the atmosphere of a library, right? Creating an atmosphere and being in a real place.
Right. So I'm a university librarian, so I work at an academic institution. But what's interesting to see students in the library during finals time and how they just feel like being in the library helps them study better.
You're going to be doing a lot of things at your conference, but you're going to have some speakers too. And usually I don't like reality shows, except there is one I watch once in a while, and that's with Robbie Montgomery of Sweetie Pies, because it's St. Louis, and she's going to speak.
Yeah, she has an upcoming book, a cookbook coming out, and we are all bibliophiles, a part of Librarians. So we are welcoming her for our closing speaker. So she's going to be at the conference.
Oh, she will be entertaining for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being instrumental
you.
in bringing this event to
Thank
St.
you.
Louis. We do appreciate it, and shout out to librarians everywhere.
Yay.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents.
And we want to thank our guests. We want to thank you for watching, and let's all meet at the library or something.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good idea.
Well, go to the library, and then we'll see you here next time.
Right.
Thanks for joining us.